Hi everybody, I'm Dave Stevens. I'm the business development rep here with NuWay. I'm here with
Jim McKenzie.
Jim. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do here at NuWay?
I bring 20 years experience in the restoration industry to NuWay Restoration. When I started out here roughly 4 years ago, I started out as a mitigation operations manager. Currently, I've moved on to a different role where I focus more on inspections, estimating, sales, and I now do indoor air quality testing.
That's awesome, dude. That's quite the list. So, how long have you personally been in the restoration game?
Going on 20 years now. Okay. Going on 20 years. I worked for a small business out of Morgantown, West Virginia for roughly 14 years. I also worked for a small service master franchise as well for about 3 years. So yeah, been in the industry for a while. I worked as a grunt, as a technician in the field for about 9 of those years. Before I moved into project management, estimating, inspections and things like that. So as I gathered certifications and kind of got the wind under my sails in the restoration industry, I just kind of grew from there. So I'm more savvy when it comes to teaching and educating and talking with the clients and making sure they understand value and benefit of the service that we provide. So.
Sure. I would be lost without you. I would be, personally, man, I would be lost without you. For everybody watching, he was one of my first mentors whenever I came here, and he just kind of gave me the skin in the game. He brings all that experience to the table. He sat down and took the time to teach me how to approach people with what mindset, and it has greatly impacted my day-to-day here at NuWay. So,
not to mention, I've done a fair amount of marketing for NuWay as well, just like Dave.
Touch on that,
door to door. So yeah, before Dave came along, I was out. When I wasn't out doing inspections, I was out marketing, carrying around our little basket and cards, and just going to door and meeting people, trying to make friends, and trying to spread our brand a little bit. So as we grow, the demand for Jim and doing inspections has become great. So I'm almost too busy now to be out running door to door. So that was the need for a business development rep, and Dave came to us and has fully embraced the challenge of a BDR rep, and he does a fantastic job. So whatever NuWay needs out of me, I'll do it. I'll work in the field. I can drive the dump truck. I can do whatever they want me to do here. I've cleaned a lot of carpets. I'm a profab specialist. So I have a vast knowledge in cleaning textiles and fabrics and fine fabrics and oriental rugs, things like that. So just happy to be a part of the process here at NuWay and bring my experience, my knowledge, and help to teach it to everybody here so we can grow as a company.
So one of my favorite things going out on the road and catching, I don't know, his coattails. I'll go in and speak with one of the clients he's been with, and they're like, "Who?" I'm like, "The guy that brings pineapples." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that guy's awesome," and he is. He does a really good job at what he does.
Yeah, pineapples make a good impact.
They do.
I tell you, you bring a pineapple into an office and you just get a look. Because we live in that type of world nowadays, and it's just a pineapple, So I don't want to be a glorified donut giver, and
Yep.
I feel like I've come in with donuts and candy, and the office staff, oh, we're on a diet, but thank you. But if I come in with some fruit and a pineapple, man, it really just kind of sets the tone.
It does.
So it's different, but it's weird how a pineapple can have such an impact on people.
Absolutely,
it sticks.
There's people. I usually come in with the goodies, the stuff that's bad for you, and people are like, "I wanted a pineapple." Sometimes, man.
I'm saying, go get some fruit.
How do you explain restoration processes to clients who are stressed or upset about property damage?
So, we're always crossing paths with people at a difficult time in their life, whether a tree fall on their home or they've had a major water damage event. And these are stressful situations for people. Your home is the biggest investment you ever make in your life. And you come home one day and it caught fire or it's full of mold. So, I like to come with empathy, and be compassionate and show that I care about, their circumstance, and I'm not just there to make money.
Right.
So, and that's first and foremost to have a meaningful impact, through that first impression. Just try to get to know them a little bit and, let them know that it's okay, that we're here to help. And, secondly, it's all about teaching. And I like to take the time to teach the clients about what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, and how we're going to go about doing it. And when you just take that time with folks and explain the value and the benefit of your service, you see that blanket of fear starting to lift off of them, and it puts them in the right mindset moving forward. And I think the most important thing is just it gains their trust, because you took time. We live in a world nowadays where everybody's in a hurry to get nowheres fast, and that we forget to just take time to sit down and listen and talk to one another and, teach each other about what's going on. So empathy and compassion, that's how you got to do it. And then teach, and then just lead the process from there. So I kind of, I have my ways about me, and everybody's a little different, so you have to adjust your methods based on the character of the person that you're dealing with. But it's just love and compassion, show that you care, build trust.
Did you know 85% of financial success comes from soft skills abilities and only 15% from technical abilities? Super Tech U was created by long-term restoration pros Eric Sprague and Larry Wilburton. Their 3 to 5 minute videos train your entire company on the soft skills they need to make your business thrive. Plus, your entire team earns IICRC CEC credits, all for about the cost of one tank of gas. To get more information about SuperTech University and receive a special 6-lesson e-course on in-home sales, go to supertechu.com/podcast offer. Again, get your free in-home sales training at supertechu.com/podcast offer. What do you think makes great customer service in the restoration industry? And I know you just touched on empathy.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can start with just being punctual. Do what you say you're going to do. Show up what time you're going to say you're going to show up, and be that punctual person. And customer service for me is, just like I said before, just showing them that you care, that you generally care. This industry, it's a tough job. It takes special people to do what we do, and be able to go in and show that you care. Not anybody can just go in and do that. So
right,
that's where it starts for me with customer service, with that compassion and empathy and punctuality with folks.
Sure. How do you reassure clients when they are worried about the cost or time?
Well, cost is always the big one, because most of our disaster restoration services, they're expensive. It's
Sure.
Everything that we do is very complex. It takes time, and it's a process of elimination. So I try to explain that to them by what I said before, by letting them know the value, letting them know the benefit of that service, and why we charge what we do. And then, of course, we always, we like to give them that worst case scenario and then talk with them on ways, because if they're short on funds and finances, talk with them on things that they can do prior to us getting there that can save them some money.
Sure.
And not go in and be too pushy and be like, this is what it's going to be, this is how much it's going to cost, and we don't want to do that. We're there to help, and that's the important thing, that everybody needs to understand here at NuWay. We are here to help. Of course we're here to make money and this is a business, but the most important thing we do is to make sure that we're growing our company through positive impacts on people, and you have to make positive impacts on people and gain their trust and show that you care. So
Absolutely. And I think that that was an awesome answer. Thank you for that. What's the most important part of teamwork on a restoration job site?
communication, safety. We'll say safety and then communication. Everything we do, like mold remediation for one, it's a process of elimination, and it takes a team of guys to go in there to do it. So we need to be able to communicate with one another. We need to make sure that the scope of work and how we're going to proceed with those procedures are in stone, and that if something changes on the job, that we communicate that with each other and our clients. And I think communication is secondly the most important thing, to make sure that our jobs run smoothly for our clients.
Sure. How would you support a teammate who may be struggling with a task out on a job site? And how would you handle disagreements or conflicts with that person?
Servant leadership. We don't, the managers here at NuWay, Bill and Chip, I think they'll all probably have the same answer. We don't like to come in and point our finger and this is what you did wrong. And, we like for people to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and make decisions out there. So when things like that happens and we run into problems, it's just going to go back to teaching. We're going to arrive. We're going to let them know that it's okay. We make mistakes every day. We wake up to make mistakes every day. We're going to teach what they didn't know, develop the process to make sure it doesn't happen, again, and just be there for your employees, and not batter them with wrong, and teach them and lift them up and not beat them down. So you get better results from people. People pay attention to you more when you serve them, not just on the job, but even in their personal lives,
Sure.
When they're struggling to, make ends meet or, whatever it is, us managers here at NuWay, we look out for all of our employees. We're going to be there for you, no matter what, because we care about you. So.
Excellent answer. How do you balance working independently while still supporting your team? I know a lot of what you do is by yourself, especially for like the air quality testings or some of the mold testings that you do.
Well, for me, in the team, it's more for me, I go and do what I do, and then I hand it off to our managers. I don't have too much, one-on-one interaction with the technicians anymore. Carney and Tiffany and Chip, when I'm handing off to them, I'm explaining the details of what's going on as I'm handing it off, and so it's just kind of, I don't know if that pertains to me a whole bunch, because I really don't interact with the team like the project managers and things like that do. But with the managers, again, it's communication. We need to communicate clearly. We need to listen to one another and, make sure the expectations for this project are clear as they pass it down to the technicians and, divvy out the task. So that's
Absolutely. What motivates you to deliver your best work even under pressure?
God motivates me to bring my best self to the table every day. And, those pressures of customer service, especially the pressures of, what we run into, I could be going one day to do a mold assessment, or I can be going another day to clean up somebody who just took their own life. So, those pressures and those all come with, just having faith having faith in our Lord, and just know that He's there walking with us, and He will guide our path, and He will always be there to take those burdens away from you. So that's what motivates me every day, gets me out of bed. That's why I like customer service so much, because I like helping people, you know what I mean? And we cross paths with them at a really tough time in their life. And when I think about that cross and crossing paths with people, that's where my focus is. That's my motivation. That's how I deal with those circumstances.
Absolutely. So, what values do you think every restoration team member should have?
Be a good steward. Be coachable. Be teachable. And just be compassionate about what you do, and want to develop as a person, for the betterment of the company, not just for yourself, but for the betterment of your company. So, I believe that if you're not coachable and not teachable, this is not the industry for you.
Right.
So
I learned that very, very quickly.
Yeah. So, and you just have to be a good steward and bring your best self to the table. Nobody wants a cranky technician walking in their house, and
No.
you can see it written all over somebody's face whether they like their job or not. And that's the type of culture that Bill and Chip have built here. They want this to be a place that you want to come and work at every single day. And they'll tell you, if you don't like working here, don't come and work here. You know what I mean? So I feel like now, like we've had we got the best team we've ever had, and we're a very cohesive, group of people. So as it's hard to find people, just to fill in the gaps, I think it with our culture and the way our employees are and the way we've trained everybody, finding those people have become a little more difficult because
Sure.
we are such a cohesive group of people,
Right.
and this is how it's going to be. This is how we're going to conduct business. And, we gotta wean out all non-hackers that don't serve the right to be in our beloved core here.
Yeah.
So that's my answer for that. So.
What's one lesson that you've learned from working directly with customers?
Be patient. Be patient. I've learned, that if you go in and you're just too quick and too pushy and you don't want to take time to make a friend, and take time to listen to people talk, that it's going to have a reflect on the service experience that you're providing for them. And in home service, it's all about being able to provide a good service experience for people, because it's one thing that's lacking in our world nowadays. You go to the restaurants and you go here, and the customer service is just, it gets worse and worse by the day. So that customer service is key, to what we do. So.
Absolutely. Last question. In your opinion, how does teamwork improve the customer's experience?
Well, teamwork improves their experience, because when you work as a team, you're going to be more efficient, meaning you're going to be able to accomplish more in a faster amount of time. So plus, I believe when people see how we pull in their driveway, how we park, how we don't walk across their grass, and they see our guys, always working together and not bickering and backbiting one another, it just shows the culture here at NuWay, and it shows the type of brand and type of people that we are when we come into your homes. You get that impression quick, and first impressions in this world are given very quickly nowadays. And what I mean, when somebody comes into your house, right off the bat, whether you're even going to be interested in using this company. So I think with
Sure.
NuWay, we bring that to the table. With every single person that works in here, it doesn't matter who you encounter, you're going to feel that comfort, and you're going to feel that good stewardship, and you're going to feel that compassion. And our guys are great. Yes ma'am, no ma'am, and just talk to people decent, and be there for people, and provide them with our service a value and a benefit that far exceeds any expectation, and always go above and beyond, because we are here on a daily basis to serve our clients, and that's the most important
Absolutely.
thing to me. So
Yep, absolutely. Well, Jim, this has probably been one of my favorite episodes to film. So, thank you for your time today. Everybody, I have been having a blast sitting down with our crew and getting to know everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying it too. Comment down below, and we'll see you next time.